Hi fam bam, welcome back to Minimalism Monday. Today I am going to be sharing with you my 5 biggest challenges that I've had to face as a minimalist. So I have to admit, after admitting to you in the last video that these videos are still sometimes hard for me to film, I ended up feeling more fluid and more authentic in the last video. And I want to thank you guys for your super sweet comments as always. I am admitting again, because maybe it will help me be more authentic and fluid in this video, that I still am nervous when I shoot these videos for the reasons stated in the last video. So with that being said, as a minimalist, you are going to face some challenges, some internal, some external, and it's normal when you are not only taking on a new perspective or new habits, but something that might be against cultural norms. So it's a cool thing that it is more normal now. I was thinking earlier that there was a bonus number 6 kind of bonus thing that doesn't really count today, and now I'm just thinking of it. It is that it's challenging to explain yourself to people, to explain why there's no furniture, to explain why you don't buy or don't consume the way that normal people or average consumers would consume, but that's really not the case anymore. You don't have to explain it so much because it is more widespread and more made aware in our culture, the idea of minimalism. So the 5 challenges that I have faced and currently face outside of that one is number 1, reducing the intake from others. So I've made this list kind of in order of what is the hardest down to like the least hardest for me personally, and more specifically right now in this time. Reducing intake from others is so challenging for me because there's so many people who are just amazingly giving and thoughtful and abundant, and we're just surrounded by these kind people who want to give to our kids like every single week, and grandparents and neighbors and friends, and everybody just like wants to show their appreciation and gratitude, and like I can't stop them from doing that. There is no way I would ever take away anybody's joy or want to express their love and appreciation by saying, hey, you gotta stop doing that. At the same time, it is a challenge more physically than it is mentally, because we have to figure out what to do with these items. Most of the time we let the girls enjoy them, or we regift them, or try to enjoy them for ourselves, and we really want to express that gratitude and show people that we appreciate the way that they want to care for us and be thoughtful for us. The next thing on my list is accepting the world's imbalance. That's really hard for me in the sense that when I look at the world and how everything operates and functions in the way that the economy runs and consumerism and the way things are made, and how not much awareness as far as manufacturing goes and goes to the planet, and everything just seems really imbalanced, and I just wish there was something great that I could do for it at the moment, other than just trying to be aware and make my own choices, because it's the culmination of the hundreds of millions of us that make these choices that cause this kind of imbalance. And that's a struggle for me, to not resist that or to not want to judge that. And one of the things that makes me feel better is to realize that in order to make a change, we have to see the things that we don't like first. You know, in order to make a change, there has to be a problem in the first place. And we're this growing, evolving culture and species. And so it's really cool to think about how much change we've gone through in just the last 150 years alone. And I see so much awareness and care from people on the internet, people outside who want to make a difference and who are making just the tiniest changes to contribute to that difference. And I really think that it's going to mean something powerfully positive for us in the near future. The third thing on my list kind of goes hand in hand. It's not having all the answers or options. And making mistakes. But what I mean by this is, like, you try to be as conscious as you possibly can, but there's so many variables out there, from not knowing if the manufacturer is being honest, or not knowing if it says organic, or all these labelings are really 100% accurate. You have to really dig and do your research to understand all the steps that led a certain item or certain things to come to where it is. And the fact of the matter is, I can't be like 100% minimalist, meaning factoring in everything that is not only going to add value to myself, but add value to other people and the rest of the world, because I participate in this society. And when it comes to evolution and changing in a positive direction, mistakes have to be made. It's challenging to generate success or to find new ways and new options without making a ton of mistakes, like the light bulb example of Edison. So we are making a ton of mistakes and we're trying to learn and grow from them. And I really believe in ourselves, our intelligence as a species, as a whole, as a cumulative population, to be able to solve problems and create solutions. But it is hard sometimes to feel like you want to be able to remove yourself from complete participation in things that don't add value or drain the global economy and Mother Nature. And it's a really hard thing to be able to do and still continue to be a part of this society. The fourth hardest thing or challenge that I've had to face as a minimalist is the guilt. And guilt for what I've done, guilt for how much I don't know and still continue to not know. And no matter how much I learn, it just makes me realize how much more I don't know. Guilt for actually enjoying things. Like I said, we live in this culture and I actually enjoy my computer sometimes, and I enjoy my iPhone. I enjoy this camera so I can make this video and talk to you guys. But I realize that all of the parts in this camera might not necessarily be completely conscious. And I know that's like really nitpicking and digging into it, but I think as a minimalist, you start first with yourself, and it usually extends outward to like your external space, and that feels really good. But as you've seen on this channel, the approach has always been, how do we dig deeper? How do we level up this practice so that we can level up our life and not only learn how to add value for ourselves, but extend that out to others, and then hopefully extend that out further to the rest of the world as much as possible. I'm not saying that we need to bear the weight of the world on our shoulders, but I think that just naturally, the more conscious you become with yourself, the more love that you have for yourself, the more of that just sort of expands outward, and you start to feel a little bit more responsible, more and more, for how things are, and to see the part that you play in how things are. So feeling guilty is something that can be really challenging, and I think at the end of the day, it's important to give yourself validation for the efforts that you've made, the fact that you're trying to be aware, and as long as you're continuing to learn and grow on your journey and do the best you can, that's the most important thing. I really have a hard time with people who want to be black and white and, you know, come and shame people and bash people for like not being perfect in their eyes. But the truth of the matter is, like, nobody is going to be perfect on this journey. You're just trying to do the best you can. And what we need to incorporate is a loving and learning attitude towards one another. We all have things that we can share. I learn from you guys so often. You tell me about resources or things that I've never heard of, and I try to be conscious, and vice versa. So I think together, growing together and becoming more aware together and finding solutions together, working together as a team is what's really going to get us the results that we're after, not only for our own lives, but in the balance of the world, or at least more so. So finding guilt is a completely natural and normal thing. But what I want to say is cut yourself some slack, especially because you're trying hard, and some of these transitions are a tough change, and you want to be able to do that authentically and not force yourself into the process, because eventually it will come. And all the little steps that we make in the right direction are making a huge difference, especially since we're all doing it together. Last on my list is trying to relate and show interest when I speak to people in public, or acquaintances, or just people that I get into conversations with, regular consumers, and doing that without judgment or trying to preach. This is last on my list because I'm a lot better at it now, but when I did first start being a minimalist, it was super challenging not to just kind of, yawn and roll your eyes like in your head when somebody's like, oh, I went shopping and I got my mocha chocolate, and, you know, this lady and her hair and blah, 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 and nails, and you're just like, okay, cool, you know, good for you. You want to be able to connect with people and you want to feel like you can relate. That's what feels really good about connecting with people. And sometimes it's really hard to want to engage in those types of conversations. I know somebody who had a birthday today. I was like, what are you gonna do? And they're like, oh, we're going to the outlet. And I was like, cool, good for you, please don't invite me. But, and so there's this conflict, and I think the challenge is really the internal conflict. It has nothing to do with that person or what their choices are. Everybody has a right to their choice. Everybody has a right to what they like. And I think that even though a lot of us here have this growing awareness for trying to do what adds value and trying to be more conscious to planet Earth, I think that it's still a growing awareness, and it's not something that we can expect out of everybody at this time. So what I try to do to look at it, instead of being like, this is stupid or this is not, valuable, I try to look at it as that the connection with the person is valuable. The ability to create a rapport with that person is valuable, because that person might need a friend, or they might just need somebody who's kind to them. And even though the conversation might not be deep, learning how to cultivate that with a person that you might not connect with or might not relate to is actually a really invaluable skill and challenge to have. And at the end of the day, if you build this type of rapport with people, you actually end up being more influential. You don't have to preach to people and tell them what to do. They start to say, this person makes me feel good, and they seem to feel good all the time, and they seem to have an awesome life. Like, what are they doing? And they can see that the way you live is really different, and they can feel that because you've created that type of experience for them every time you guys come in contact. So taking the challenges that I've had, I feel like, is a good way to add value to myself, because I learn and I'm able to grow from them, and I'm able to kind of pull them apart and ask myself why, and how I can move into them or through them with a positive add-on or addition to my life. And I hope that this video has helped you relate to maybe some of those challenges and see how you can turn those challenges into something that adds value to your life. And I would, as always, love to hear what other challenges you might have faced as a minimalist or still face today in the comments below. And maybe it would be awesome if you could add what you would do to change it, or like make it more valuable or positive in your life, because I think that every challenge has a gift and every challenge has value to add. Every single challenge. There's no fail about that in my mind, that a challenge can never go to waste if you learn from it and if you see what it's trying to teach you, and taking that perspective and really becoming a better person because of it. So I thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really love these type of topics. So if you like them, let me know by hitting thumbs up. That's huge to me, because I really go off of what you guys say and your feedback. And if you don't normally comment and you feel like, I don't know, you have some criticism, I'm open to that. Please stick in the comments below, because I love learning and taking on challenges, as we've talked about today. So thank you guys so much for being here with me. As always, leave your questions and comments below. If you're new, thanks for being here and checking this channel out. Subscribe for more. Remember to go out there, be good, be great. Most of all, be grateful. I'm so grateful for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Monday.